All right, there we are. How you doing, folks? Come on in. Come on in. We're letting folks log in and get connected. We are here today talking about mental health and faith and how those two things go together. Come on in and join us here at the Faith Community. I'm here with my friend Yvonne Varner Kirkland, who
Yes.
is a recent graduate at Mercer University, but an expert at mental health. And we'll be having this conversation. I am excited to see you all, and I am excited to have this conversation with you all. So come on in and join us. Leave your comments, say hello. Let us know that you are logged in. Let us know that you are watching us. We are live right here at the Faith Community. I see Robert is here. I see Autumn is here. We're talking about faith and mental health right here on this Real Talk this Thursday, and I'm excited because this is going to be good. My friend Yvonne Varner Kirkland here has been in ministry for 25 years and is a certified rehabilitation counselor, soon to be, right?
I am.
You already are. You've already got your CRC.
No,
And
no, no. I'm about to be. I'm sorry on that.
all right, so you're on your way to be a
Well,
certified rehabilitation counselor.
yes.
So she understands mental health on a level that is far beyond what I understand, and we're going to talk about the nexus of the two. We're going to talk about faith and mental health. I see my cat Bay, my partner in ministry, Marielle, is there. How you doing, Marielle? It's good to see you. We missed you a little bit later on, but thank you for joining us tonight as we talk about mental health in faith. So, Yvonne, let's go ahead and get this party started. I don't want to keep the people waiting.
Okay.
First off, tell me a little. I want to read your bio because your bio is fantastic, but I won't do that. Tell us a little bit about you, where you're from, where you've come from, and how you got into mental health. Hey, Pam, come on in.
Yes. So I was born in Anderson, Alabama, but raised here in Atlanta. I am a part of a Christian uh, family that, as I was sharing with you before, we breathe and slept and everything church. Okay.
I understand that. I grew up the same way. I know many of the people watching did as well. So,
Exactly. And so, it came from there. And my mom and my dad, especially my mom, bless her soul, she passed on my birthday, and I have a twin. She passed on our birthday in '94. But she was that one that was, she was the mom and the caregiver of everybody.
mm-hmm.
And somehow, I was that apple that stayed close to that tree. My father too, because he is also a soldier there at the Salvation Army,
Mm-hmm.
where I am a local pastor
I
as
got
well.
you. And how
Yes,
long?
yes.
I said 25 years, right? You have been in ministry. Now, how long have you been pastoring with the Salvation Army?
About for the Salvation Army, because I came from another outside, church. It's been about at least 10 years with
10
them.
years
Hmm.
in ministry and pastoring. And I've got to ask this: you are a female in ministry.
Yes, I am.
Not everybody likes women in ministry. Tell me, how have you weathered that storm?
I know. The thing of it is, well, my dad and I, we were at a prior church together, and our senior pastors, they got to, they were educators in the Atlanta Public School, and they got to a level to where they decided to retire, and leadership changed, and you know
Mm-hmm.
how that can be sometimes. We were doing a lot of things. I was doing so much. We talked about helping and never got to a point of doing the form of level of care that I would like for us to do. And it was my brother who invited us to Family Day at the Salvation Army. And when my dad and I went there and we saw that the Salvation Army are doing all day, every day, for others. And so we just, oh my God, we just grabbed hold to that. And what I like about them, they are true to the point of they lend a hand to lift you up. And it's
I love that.
not you come as you are. It's
I
interesting.
love
I
that.
just had a student here who, a worker here who says, well, I don't know if I want to come. I don't like that churchy thing. I said, no, you come as you are. You come as you
Mhm.
are. And they respect you for you as far as me, it's as me as being concerned, being having that leadership, in ministry, and the fact that my care and love for others, it shows. It's not a
Hmm.
pretentious thing. It's
I got
real,
you. I
and they
got you.
take you as that.
I love that, right? This idea of coming as you are, and
Yes,
that's the real ethos of ministry, right? Like we appreciate doctrines, we appreciate all these ideas, but even more than that, we want to love you as a person. We want to love you as an individual. So come as you are. Don't worry about that other stuff. Let's love on you.
exactly, exactly. It's
I
not
love
these tags and all of this and that, and that's part of wearing your soldier's uniform. It's not trying to be all fancy or dressy or anything, but we're just serving.
I
We're
got you.
saved
Being a
to
servant.
serve. That is our SS, saved to serve.
I love that. Now, I got
Yes.
to ask you, tell me more about your journey into mental health. So, you've got an undergraduate degree in psychology, you have got a master's degree in clinical rehabilitation counseling. You are help me with this one, you are a mental health first aid instructor. So, you are
Yes.
in the field of mental health. Tell me what that means and how you got there.
So, of course, my journey into the Satcher Health Leadership Institute at Morehouse School of Medicine, I tell
Mhm.
you, Myron, it's God. It's only God. It was at Circuit City 20 years, and they started closing up as they were, the ones who know about Circuit City, they began to close up.
I remember that. Yeah, the big red
Yes,
building. Yeah.
they just all of a sudden, and it was God's word of mouth, and so my pastor two at the Salvation Army 2 months earlier, she texted me and she said, Yvonne, I know you're doing so much, but can you come and do this additional work? And I said, sure. So anyway, I was laid off on a Friday. I went in on a Monday, and so I went in, and there was a flyer saying we need these mentors and we need these parent leaders for this parenting quality program. And she said, Yvonne, this speaks all of you, period. This is you. So, but just to go a little, bring it up a little closer, um, there at the Satcher Health Leadership Institute, one day I got a text, an email saying you've been sponsored for this $1,800 training to be a mental health first aid instructor. I was like, what? Really? Oh my God, $1,800 for me? And so that journey from 2015, was I trained for a whole week and I was certified. 2017, God blessed me to be certified I trained and certified in youth mental health first aid. And God, like I said, He was just equipping me with the knowledge to be able to, certify and train others to be able to recognize when they see their co-man, their co-sister, a woman, a fellow that are maybe experiencing a crisis, and they can
Hmm.
see that and they can, how to interact with them. Just as we see now, the police are now asking, how do we interact with these people who are having a mental breakdown and not just shoot
Hmm.
them? We
Yeah.
teach them how to recognize, how to interact with them until they can get them to the appropriate person. Or even for ourselves, how do we see something about to happen in ourselves? And so that we can, be mindful to get and be the one that can say, I need help. And
Come on.
not to think, I want people to look at me a certain way and think of me a certain way. But I'm human. We're
Yeah.
human. We're human.
Can I tell you how freeing what you just said is? Right. So we spent the first few minutes talking about the fact that you're a pastor. And
Hmm.
then we just talked about the fact that it is okay for you to say, I need help.
Yes. Yes.
Those two things, being a pastor, being in ministry, and then being in mental health, sometimes are at odds with one another. So people
Yes.
of faith sometimes don't go get the help that they need. Tell me, why do you think there is that stigma about
And
mental
and
health
and
in areas of faith?
and what I thought about that too. Again, we're trying to, even though we'll say I'm not trying to be up with the Joneses or listen to the naysays. I don't want them to look at me a certain way. Myron, there's a lot, and everyone, there's a lot of things that happen to us, and it's called adverse childhood experiences. Some of those times of how we've been mistreated as a child, we've been discounted. And so we're constantly trying to be approved, given approval. So if we've come to this certain level, and now people are looking at me a certain way, then I don't want to do anything for them to not look at me that way. But instead, as
Mm.
God says, even to
Of
the point I
appearance.
said, come as you are, you be consistent. When in human development, a child learns from watching you as that role model. And you've got to be consistent. And you've got to have that gift of discern. And that's what I have my there at even at Morehouse School of Medicine and the students there. Sometimes they'll say, "Oh, you're a rarity because you're speaking to me." Yes, I'm saying hello. How are you? Are you hungry? Have you been fed today? So we've got to be consistent in our interaction with others, and we've got to show that we care for others. And even today, I said, I told one young lady, I said, my pastor, she was sharing last Sunday when she preached, and she said, I walked all the way on the other side of the building, and then I thought, what did I come over here for? And I had to come all the way back and to think of what, oh, that's what it was. And I said, at the end of service, everyone was like, Major, you are not alone. We are all going through the same thing, but to be able to be okay within yourself and say, I'm seeing this. This is what's happening. We're all going through all of this, this effect of the pandemic. We're all in this fog in a sense. But you got to, and I said, it's interesting. I said this to two people today, right there at Morehouse School on campus today, Morehouse School of Medicine campus today. The main thing is we've got to recognize, we got to be able to be big and say, I'm going through it. And
Wow.
I need some space and I
Wow.
need some assistance in this. Like I need some grace and some mercy.
Boy,
And
this is helping me, and I'm sure this is helping everybody else. This
yes,
idea that we are not alone in this,
yes,
and then you got to be big enough when you recognize that you are walking in that fog where things
yes,
aren't clicking like they need to be clicking. You're
yes,
not alone, and you get the help that you
yes.
need to get.
Yes, but we've got to recognize just the other day too, one of the young ladies there, and she was like, "Oh," I said, and she shared with me her situation, and she has had come through COVID, and she said, "Miss Yvonne, I just haven't been up myself." And I said, "I know you haven't because I know how you are really usually like this, but it is affecting." I said, I said, you're not alone, but it's okay. We're here for one another. We'll get to that. Get to that point. So, but you got to be able to open up and to say if you need help. And when you see your fellow man or fellow woman struggling, recognize them and let them know it's going to be just fine. Do you know I was told this morning, I need to give you something because the other day you said something to me and she just started crying really, but and she was saying to even today it's still stuck with me. You just said that one word to give me peace and release, and I sure appreciate that. And I told her, I said, I'm gonna tell you like I told my godmother told me when my baby sister was found dead December the 8th, and we did her memorial service there at the Salvation Army. She cooked all this food for everybody, and I said, "Oh my God, you didn't have to do that." She said, "That's what a godmother's supposed to do." So, so I told her, I said, "That's what I'm supposed to do." She said, "Oh, you've been his God's hands and his feet and understanding." I said, "That's what we're all here for. Mental health and being spiritual is what did he say? To the least of these, and to be able to be discerned and grace, mercy, and love unconditionally." Unconditionally.
So what I'm
Yes,
hearing you say is that there is this hand in hand relationship
yes.
between faith and mental health. While some people think they're at odds, that's not necessarily the case. They actually walk hand in hand.
Let me tell you. And I was as I was preparing because I don't know if you looked at. I said, "Oh, but I gotta put a PowerPoint together."
I saw
That's
the
just me.
PowerPoint.
You saw that? I said,
That was
"Oh,
a
I gotta
huge
put something."
PowerPoint, Yvonne. I gotta tell you, what was that, like 30 slides? Y'all, Yvonne was ready. Okay, she was gonna do
I
a full
was
out
ready,
lecture tonight.
and less than 24 hours.
Yes.
But I was reminded of Matthew 4:23 and 24, where it says, "News went about him," and that's Jesus, spread all over Assyria, And people brought to him all who were ill with various diseases, those suffering severe pain, the demon possessed, those having seizures, as they would call it, moonstruck, as the Greek word said, moonstruck. There was a change in the moon causing this, and the paralyzed, and he healed them. So us
Mhm.
being, his servants, and then it also says in Matthew 10:1, he called his 12 disciples to him and gave them authority to drive out evil spirits and healed every disease and sickness. So we're running with this. We're running with this. God, give me the gift of discernment. And that's what we're doing all day is that, am I doing your work while I'm here? While I live, that I'm giving people their flowers, and I'm doing this at school too. I'm teaching others, and we got to be an example. Give people your flower while they live. Young lady, you're beautiful. She's like, oh, I am. Yes, you are. Yes, you
Mhm.
are. Are you hungry? You feed them. So that's what we're doing. It's not that we're at odds. It's at odd. We're at odds when the darkness doesn't blend with the light. So when they see you doing something, if they're part of a darkness, they're thinking, I don't understand that. But we're to continue that. We're still to continue that because it gives us all that last inkling of our last inkling life, our breath, to say, Lord, I yield, I yield. I
Mm.
accept you as my Lord and Savior.
And I
Come into
love
my life.
this. I love this. That, and especially because that is what mental health first aid is.
Yes.
It is simply being helpful, being
Yes.
kind, listening to people, extending a hand to people. We never know how much that can affect somebody and drive them away from what they were going to do or what they were thinking about doing. Right?
Yes. Yes. And and it's known in psychology that those that have the thought of suicide, they really are hoping that you, Myron, just ask me, what am I thinking about? Why am I looking so dark and sad?
Mm.
What is going on with me? Because they want us to say, is something wrong? That gives them a chance to, oh yes, this is what's happening. I'm thinking
Mhm.
this or whatever. But they're
Mm.
wanting someone to, it's just being recognized. The one thing my mom told me, and I'll never forget, she said, a prostitute is a woman and she has children and they need to be fed. They are somebody. And my mom would go into her refrigerator or cabinet and put together a little meal and feed them. Everybody, she said, everybody is somebody. You are somebody.
I
And
love
you
it.
let everyone know that. You let
Everybody
everyone
is
know that.
somebody.
And that's all they want. That's all we want.
Mm.
That's
Now,
all we want.
now I'm gonna flip this, right? I'm gonna ask this question. So we've kind of talked about kind of recognizing and helping others who might be in crisis and extending that hand. But what about ourselves? How do we know if we're in crisis? How do we know when we need the help?
When we can recognize that, um, for example, with depression,
Mm-hmm.
depression is a thing of you coming home, sitting on that sofa and just going to sleep and not doing, somehow you just overtired and you just overworked when you know you haven't been overworked, but somehow, it takes you forever to think. And that's like that they say it's a fog, this pandemic fog.
Mm-hmm.
Somehow, we're saying I'm okay, but we're really not okay.
Mm-hmm.
We're taking ourselves and isolating ourselves. We're not that jovial person that we've always been. It's taking us forever. We're having those thoughts of, I'm not as what who I used to be, and I'm feeling some kind of way, you know, recognize, and then God will make it possible for that next person to say, you seem to not be your same happy self. Are you okay?
Mm-hmm.
He will give us the sign, just as he will give them a sign to, and let us see that let's wait a minute, they're right. Am not, somehow I'm not feeling well. But
Yeah.
the thing, and also we've got to recognize it, accept the change, accept the change,
Mm-hmm.
and not to think, okay, I'm gonna try and just keep it going. but no, we need to slow down. We've got to nurture ourselves because we cannot be good for anyone when we're not good for ourselves. It was a powerful thing in that quality parenting program that we saw. Samson, they gave us in our age, and Samson, they gave us millions of dollars for 5 years to do this parenting program. And the
Mm-hmm.
focus wasn't on um, the level they're changing their depression, but it was so powerful. Just that social community that was developed, um, that the parents' depression level went from here to bam all the way down here, and they recognized that they recognized it. You
I
know,
got you.
yes, they recognize that. So we've got to be able to. So we part of that program was, although you're doing these things, you need to make sure you feed your child this so their brain development. And they learned a lot about brain development. They learned so much. Their social and emotional development and skills are proper. They're getting the things so that they can interact with others. But you got to nurture yourself too,
Mm-hmm.
so
You
that
have
you
to feel
can be a
it
good
first.
parent. You won't be fussy and that child come to you, Mom, I don't feel, get away. You don't want that. You want to be calm. You want to be at your best self so that you can be a quality parent for that person. So you can be a quality manager, so that you can be a quality professor, a teacher, a
Mm,
mentor, etc.
I
We've
got you.
got to take care of ourselves as well. If it may be walking, taking a walk, it may be exercising, it may be just sitting, looking at TV or whatever it is. But we've got to nurture ourselves so that we can be at our best.
I've got to ask this question. So, this is Therapy and Theology Month here at the Faith Community, and we're
Mhm.
letting people know that if you got to go to therapy, it's all right. There is no problem with that. You have done therapy before. I know you've run group therapy sessions. You understand therapy. It- why are Christians afraid to go to therapy?
Again, it's somehow it's that thing of I'm not being, again, what others are seeing me to be.
Mm,
There's
mm,
always been, we have that battle of the difference of our beliefs, etc. We're trying to be this particular persona. And so if we show a weakness, and that's even in being in a leadership, if I show a weakness, even in football, if I show a weakness, that's gonna just totally break everything. It's gonna break everything. When in fact, we're not. And it's funny is I've been I've been recently asked, and I will do this. Um, is that the pastor is saying, I'm recognizing something in a couple of people, and I want you to even just take them to lunch. I want you to be able to work with them, you
mm-hmm.
know. But somehow it's I want to be a part of the group. But if I show there's some break or something in there I'm not strong, then that'll keep me from being in that inner circle.
I gotcha.
We've got to take that away. That barrier, that's a
I agree.
barrier.
I agree. Well, let me ask this question. Let me move forward. What does therapy look like from the inside out? Right. So you're a therapist. You're conducting that group session. Help somebody here who is afraid to go to therapy. They don't know what's going to happen. What do you do in a therapy section? What questions do you ask? What does that look like?
Um, you're starting the group. You're allowing the group to decide what are not their rules, but what are the things that we want to agree to in regards to our communication, our building this cohesiveness with one another. Not rules, but things that we agree to. Now, as you're working into that group, there are going to be some that's going to start as you're starting to get into that working mode. That's transitional working mode. That you're going to have some that's going to be trying to challenge challenge you as a leader, or challenge others, etc. And so you're going to be mindful of And it's a group that's doing the work, because it's that group who are trying to grow that cohesiveness
Mm-hmm.
within that group. And if
And
there's if a challenge, then you want to bring it out. You want to bring
gotcha.
it up right there with the group. See,
I
that's
got.
the thing of you trying to take away all these hidden little corners and crevices and all of that. This is open. This is an open. But what you will find is, oh my God, it for a number of people, it's like I'm building that community that I've been wanting.
Wow.
I've missed this
Wow.
community even in my home. I've
Wow.
I've missed this community in my school. I've always wanted to be a part of. And what you end up seeing is where those members are beginning to sort of blend together. And it's almost, Marion, before you say something, I'm finishing your sentence.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
Mm-hmm.
finishing your thought, because you begin to learn one another, and even in group, um, you have a strength in a certain area that the other person may not have a strength. That's even in your class. We got to do these group assignments. And we can't be in our silos. We can't be introverted. We want to be able to sort of come out of our introvert, meaning within ourselves and away from everyone. We want to be extroverted just a little, so we can be able to, to collaborate and work with others, because that grows our interpersonal strength as well.
I gotcha.
That's what we want. So you're going to see a growth in that person. You'll see that person's beginning to light up, and now they're more voiceful. And oh wow, that's Marion. That's
Mm-hmm.
so and so. She's being more confident within herself, or he's being more confident within himself. So it builds a community, is what it does,
I gotcha. And
and
those are
that's
group therapy
support.
sessions you're talking about, right?
Ooh, yes,
I
yes,
love it. All
yes.
right. Listen, our time is coming to an end. This is 7:27. Boy, this is faster than I
Already?
anticipated. Yes. So I've got one last question for you, and then we will sign off from there. Um, Give us some tips about caring for our own mental health. Here in Therapy and Theology Month, what can we do to make sure that we're in a good place, that ultimately we can be good for our community and good for our families?
Again, you want to make sure, of course, we have so many demands on us, that we have to. And I shared this with the students there at Atlanta Metro. He took me back into the community where I earned my associate degree, and for a year I counseled the students, and
Mm-hmm.
it's worked for me. It's helped me a lot. Keep a 2 month or 1 month or whatever calendar to remind yourself of things that will help you have your time management.
I
Make
gotcha.
sure when you have a time down for doing a certain thing, do that certain thing,
I
because it
got.
avoids you, it keeps you from overwhelming yourself, first of all.
I like it. Oh,
When
that
you
is
have that
incredibly
time
practical. Wait, we
for,
got to say that again. You got to slow down. That's so good. So time management helps us not to be overwhelmed. So get a calendar so that you can schedule things out so things aren't coming at you. This is ministering to me because I am a procrastinator. And
yeah,
so things will overwhelm me when I get too much on my plate. This is so helpful. What else you got? Keep a calendar,
yes.
people. That'll help your mental health.
It will, yes, it will, because when you, like I said, don't try to bring something that's supposed to happen at 3 over into the 2, because now you just turn around and just blown it. Uh, get as much rest as you can.
Get as
Get as
much
much
rest as you can.
rest as you can. Try to eat, exercise. Being
Yeah.
someone who became a diabetic a couple of years ago, you've got to exercise so that your mind can be clear. Not
Mm-hmm.
overjunk yourself with stuff that's not good for you. It does make a difference.
I
Does
love
make a difference. And don't get in and isolate yourself. Try not to isolate yourself. Try to have a time that you can spend time with your family. If it's a Zoom, if it's a phone call, part of your time management. Okay, this weekend at 2 o'clock to 3, I'm talking to the family. I'm talking to someone. Because if you get in your silo and you get in your away and isolated, then all kind of things and all kind of thoughts and negative thoughts and feelings can come.
my
I would say
I
that.
love it. And I think that's the perfect place to end. because I tell people all the time, our church is called the faith community. And the important part of it is not the faith part, it's the community part. That ultimately that we do life together. We grow in faith. We discover new things in faith. That's ever changing. But the fact that we do this with one another makes us what we believe different than anybody else. So this has been just fantastic. I want to say thank you, Dr. Yvonne Varner Kirkland.
We're going there.
Yvonne Varner Kirkland CRC C clinical mental rehab counselor.
NCC.
See all of them. NCC.
All of them. Okay.
This has been just fantastic. I have learned so much and I have gotten so much. And I mean, I have gotten permission to get the help that we need to get. And then also letting me know that we are not alone.
Nope.
You're not the only one that is feeling the way you're feeling or having the thoughts that you're having. And so it's okay to raise your hand and say, hey, help me here because this is going on. I think you have freed a lot of people here tonight. And you have helped a lot of folks here tonight. So thank you for joining the faith community tonight.
Yes.
You've certainly blessed us. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Hang on there for a little bit.
Okay.